Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. We've got a new unboxing. This is Wizkids' latest release for Dice Masters, Marvel Dice Masters Civil War. Now, for those who don't know what Dice Masters is, it's a game that kind of mixes kind of like a collectible card game mixed with like a deck building game. You go and you build a team using cards and dice. You battle out with your opponent, hence the kind of the trading card aspect of it, and the deck building aspect is as you roll, you use dice to buy other dice, and you build your team to fight it out as you go along. So it's a game that I enjoy a lot. I play it pretty much every single weekend, go to tournaments, all kinds of stuff. Now, Wizkids has had a whole bunch of releases for the game. There's all kinds of brands. This is the latest set, as I said, the Marvel Dice Master Civil War. They've had other Marvel sets in the past, Amazing Spider-Man, sets based off of X-Men, Avengers vs. X-Men, and then there's DC, and they've had sets like World's Finest was the latest, War of Light was one, Justice League was one. They've had sets based off of D&D and Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, Wizkids has been on a roll lately, and had two really solid sets in a row. They had World's Finest, which was the latest set. I think was excellent. It's a lot of fun, especially when it comes to drafting. And then the set before that, Fair and Under Siege, which was based off of D&D, was another solid set. Both added a bunch of cards that you're going to see in tournaments. You're already seeing in tournaments. And just generally, they were just fun sets. Now, this is a set I'm super looking forward to. Now, if you've been living in a cave, maybe you have missed it, but Civil War is one of the numerous movies that Marvel is putting out this year. It is out in May, and basically you need to decide if you're Team Cap or Team Iron Man. It pits the heroes against each other. Now, Civil War the movie is based off of Civil War the comic, which took place, I believe, in 2001. It was a big event, and basically the story really, both stories, as far as I know, kind of surrender is about what's known as the Superhero Registration Act, where sides are taken. Team Iron Man is all about the Registration Act, which sides them with the government. Team Cap is all about freedom and against the act, which makes them renegades and terrorists in many people's eyes. And basically the heroes fight and battle out. So this is taking that theme into Dice Masters. Now, we've got the, of course, awesome art. I believe it's Steve McNiven in the box. This is a set that I've really been looking forward to. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun and have some interesting things. I'm more of a Marvel person than a DC person, though I've loved the DC sets. I just kind of grew up reading Marvel comics. So it's a game that mixes comic books. So how can I not be all about this? So Wizkids hooked us up with a couple products. We've got a starter set. Now, the starter set, first and foremost, is like the best way to get into the game. It's got more than enough for two people to play. It kind of gives you the basics of everything that you need. There's 44 custom dice. That includes 12 basic action dice. We're going to show all this stuff off. 16 character dice, 16 sidekick dice. There's 37 cards, which includes 22 character cards. Again, so we're going to show all this off. 10 basic action cards, color cards, a checklist, rule book, dice bags. Everything you need for usually between $14.99 and $19.99, depending on where you go. So if you're looking to start, this is a great way to do it. Now, there's cards that are only ever in the starter, so if you're a completist, you want to get everything, you're going to have to get the starter. What's also nice is the starter gives you 2 of the dice for the characters, so it kind of gets you along the way when it comes to the collecting aspect. Next, we have these. These are what's known as foil packs from a Gravity Feed. Now, normally they retail for about like 99 cents. Gravity Feed, I think, generally has 90 packs in it. And what these starters are the ways to kind of expand your collection. They give you more cards, more dice. There's 2 cards, 2 dice in there, and obviously the dice go with the cards that are in there. And this is the way to get the kind of the rest of the set. So this starts you off, but this is going to get you the rest of the way. There's all kinds of rarities in the game. There's common, uncommons, rares, and super rares. And when it comes to all that, this is where it matters. There's some other releases. A collector's box, which we don't have in front of us, but when it's released, we're going to have a unboxing and talk about it. Gravity Feed, the big box, don't have in front of us, but we have some of the packs that we're going to open up and show off. There's a team box. A team box is a way to carry your dice around. I have one team box that I use for tournaments. It helps keep me organized. And then a Playmat. Now, Playmat, I think, is a fantastic addition to the game. Now, you get some kind of generic ones in the starter that's in the rule books. You also get a Playmat in the collector's box. But Wizkids puts together this Really, really nice playmat. It's kind of the same material like a mouse pad. It has really, really cool art. And this is no exception. I actually think this is a beautiful mat that I think does really, really well. To show you it off, it's got the artwork that you can see on the box of Cap and Iron Man going at it. It says Civil War. Get your life section on the bottom, gives you space for basic actions, your 8 cards that you use in the game, the dice that you can use to line up, your KO, prep area, dice bag, reserve pool, field zone, and used pile. Still, they don't have the transition zone for those that play the game. It's a little weird that they still don't have it. And the thing that I actually like about the mat is it gives you basically like the order of what you need to do in the game at the bottom. I think that's just really, really smart of them, and goes along really well. As far as art, this is a beautiful mat. I think out of all the mats they've released, this could be my favorite. I really, really dig. I think the War of Light one was a top of mine, but I mean, this is just sweet artwork. I think the white on it, the lettering, everything just works really, really well. So as far as mats, so nice. I think the mats are great, one, because it lays out what to do, gives you space and a better area of what's going on. I kind of needed to pay attention as to what's going on in the game for myself. So I encourage it, especially for people who are new and starting out. But we're going to open this up. We're going to show off what is inside the starter set. As I said, the starter set, it's exactly how it sounds. It's a great way to start off in the game or this particular set. If you've never played before, it's an excellent way to get going, get cards, get pretty much everything you need to really play the game. Alright, so we're going to take out all the dice. Show things off. So as I said, the game comes with a rule book, and this is the playmat you could get in the rule book. Of course, can always like photocopy it and blow it up bigger. You know, Wizkids actually encourages you on that, or even just use this if you want. It again has some great directions as to how to play the game. So if you're looking for help, this is one way to go about it. And there's always really helpful things in here. There's, you know, lexicon for you to look up. There's the order of the play in the back. I usually have a rule book with me when I play, just in case I ever have issues. Okay, so as I said, there's a whole bunch of dice in the game, and you can see it in front of me. A whole bunch of dice. Now the game comes with dice that you need. These are what's known as the sidekick dice. This is what you're going to roll kind of for your basic stuff. This set's pretty basic, white sidekick dice, nothing too special about it. You roll it and, you know, you get things like energy that you use to buy the dice, or you get sidekicks, which are characters that you can use to attack. So the game comes with 16 sidekick dice. You're going to need 8 of them per side, so as I said, enough for 2 players. And then there are, excuse me, and then there are basic action dice. Basic action dice are what you use for basic action cards, and we're going to show off the basic action cards that come in this set. You can see the colors in here. I would call this blue, probably gray or brown, pink, and yellow or gold. There is a whole bunch that you will need for the game. Generally use 2 colors, so there's enough for 2 players, as I said. Beyond the dice, you go and you put the dice in these bags so you can shake things up. Very intelligently and kind of entertainingly, we have a bag with Iron Man on one side, for those who are Team Iron Man, and Team Cap on the other. Very cool bags. I like it. I really like the fact that Wizkids is actually printing art on them instead of just having like a generic red or blue. You know, it's the small things that I think add a lot to the game. But then there's the cards. I keep on talking about how there's this card aspect of this on top of the dice. So let's open this up and show off what cards are inside. So first we have a checklist of all the cards in this set. Now I'm going to take the checklist. We're going to have it up on our site, so you'll be able to see exactly what cards are in the game. We've got our basic action dice colors. As I said, you basically take these and helps you to know what basic actions each person has or using. We have colors orange, pink, gray, and cyan. I was a little off with a few of them. Whatever, not that big a deal. Basic action cards are kind of like spells in a way for those who use Magic, play Magic. They are not characters, but things that you can do. And we're going to go over these basic actions at a time. Let's go over one at a time and discuss each one. So yeah, let's go with in alpha order. We've got Brothers Fighting Brothers. It's a basic action card. Each player KOs character die they control. Okay, so it costs 4, you roll it, and you're going to have to knock out a character. There's a global, though. You pay shield when a character die you control is KO'd, and you gain a life. So it allows you to gain some life. It's not a mechanic we see tons of in the game, but to be able to gain some life can be actually really, really helpful. Next, we've got Driven Underground. For those in the game who know the comics, Cap and his side are driven away and have to actually have like underground bases to stay out of trouble. We've got a cost of 3 on this one's KO target blocking character die. If you get 2 stars, it's also deal 1 damage to target opponents. There's a global of pay a lightning bolt, deal 1 damage to target character die that has already been damaged this turn. That's a pretty big deal because there is an ability called Iron Will that you need to do damage to a character once, and then you can knock it out. So be able to do that to damage a character twice is very, very helpful. To be able to KO a target blocking character actually would be kind of a big deal as well. This one's costed 2, really cheap. We got deal 2 damage to target opposing character die. The character of that character die, the controller of that character die, may deal 2 damage to target character die you control. This is called Civil War, is the straight up card. So you do 2, they do 2 back to you. Could be helpful in the beginning of the game to keep your opponent from having any characters while you build some stuff up with some stronger characters. We got 3. This is Escape Incarceration. Move a die from your used pile into your prep area. Resistance. If a character die you control was KO'd this turn, move another die from your used pile to your prep area of cost of 3. So a way to build up your prep area pretty big. I can see this one getting played pretty well. Pretty often. We got Field Promotion, cost of 4, spin all your character dice up 1 level. If you get 1 or 2 stars, instead spin all your character dice to level 3. Way to power up your characters. We've got Internal Disputes. Target opposing character die deals damage equal to its attack to a different target opposing character die. You can only use this action when an opponent has at least 2 legal target character dice. It's cost of 4. Could be useful. I can see that getting some play in the game. Noticing a lot of this is about knocking out other characters, which makes sense since pretty much the story is about them beating the crap out of each other. We've got a cost of 5. This one's gain 4 life, which is pretty huge in this game. Resistance, if a character die you control was KO'd this turn, gain 5 life instead. Resistance seems to be a new ability in the game. Resistance is character abilities functions when a character die you control was KO'd in the same turn. So resistance is something that is new. It has a global. You pay a mask, prevent all damage to you from 1 opposing die's when attacks ability. That could be pretty huge. And I can also see that needing a lot of errata from other players. We've got Suffering and Satisfaction, a cost of 2. Choose an affiliation. Target character die with that affiliation gets +2 attack, and a different target character die with that affiliation gets -2 attack. You may only use this action if 2 dice in the field zone have the same affiliation. Interesting. That could be an interesting one. We've got Superhero Registration Act, a cost of 4, draw and roll 2 dice. Enlistment, instead, draw and roll 3 dice unless your opponent KOs an opposing character die. In a game of about rolling, drawing and rolling dice, this could be a pretty big one. I could see a lot of use in that one. With a little PGX action, potentially getting up some a bunch of dice in the game. To be able to finally field some big characters. Next we got the front line, cost of 5. This is a pretty hefty one. Unblocked attacking characters' dice gain +3 attack until end of turn. A global is pay a fist. Target opposing character die. Can't block this turn unless your opponent pays 1 life. Potentially a pretty big one right there when it comes to attacking. Now, as I said, you got to put your teams together in the game. This has some interesting characters. So we've got a bunch of affiliations here. So we have a bunch of Avengers, it looks like. W, probably like Web Warriors, I think. G, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy. Avengers, and Bolt, which I would guess would be Thunderbolts. Alright, so let's go over the cards themselves. First up, we've got the Wasp, her die is actually kind of cool. Her die is like small of version of her in her silhouette. The dice that she's got is 1, 2, and 2 is level 1, 1, 3, 2 is level 2, and 2, 4, 3 is level 3. The basic Janet Van Dyne is just a cost 2. Wasp at a cost of 3 has fast. This character deals damage before non-fast characters in combat. I believe we've seen this before in previous sets. It's kind of like First Strike. Potentially a useful thing. Another one's cost 3 is when Wasp is blocked, deal 1 damage to target opposing character die not blocked by Wasp, or not blocking Wasp. Globals pay a mask, target character die must block this turn. Interesting ability. There seem to be a lot of things focused around blocking and knocking out characters, so I can see how a lot of this kind of connects together. Next we got She-Hulk. Of course, she's got her purple die, but it is dumbbells. There we go. You can see them. So she's got her 3 versions. Bit of expensive character. There we go, the 3. First up, we've got She-Hulk, Courtroom Warrior. When declaring blockers, She-Hulk can block up to 2 character dice. I should have mentioned her dice is 144, 155, and 267. For that 267, being able to block up to 2 character dice, it's pretty beefy. Next is Sensational. Overcrush, and when a She-Hulk die deals combat damage to an opposing character die and an opponent in the same turn, gain 2 life. So we got another function of the game where players are gaining life. Now we've got Intimidate. I believe this is a new one. Intimidate is when you field a character die with Intimidate, remove target opposing character die from the field zone until end of turn. Place it next to your character cards. At the end of turn, return to the field zone at its previous level. Returning to the field zone doesn't count as fielding that die. Interesting. It's opposing character die. So you basically remove a character die at that turn. So great to attack if you want. So She-Hulk cannot be blocked by fewer than 2 character dice. So awesome to get her out there. Remove one of the opponent's character dice, and then you're automatically getting in at least 4 points of damage, if not maybe 5 or 6. Flip that around with some other cards, you're looking at possibly 7 points of damage. Alright, next up we've got Scarlet Spider. An interesting die. It's really similar to Spider-Man in the Avengers vs. AVX set. The spider is just kind of on its side. His dice are 133, 143, and 263. On his lowest level, it's a former villain. Show him off really quick. Got some nice art on it. Lowest is former villain. He's got Intimidate, which, remove opposing character die. That's it. Next, we've got Redemption. When Scarlet Spider is active, when opposing character die is fielded, spin up each of your Scarlet Spider dice 1 level. If you spin up at least 1 Scarlet Spider die, Scarlet Spider deals 1 damage to target opponent. Pretty interesting to run. I mean, it's a 4-cost die, and you're potentially getting it 6 at some point of damage, if you field enough of them. And then finally, Kane, cost of 5. So while Scarlet Spider is active, when an opposing character die is fielded, spin up each of your Scarlet Spider dice 1 level. If you spin up at least 1 Scarlet Spider die, draw a die and put it in your prep area. We got another card that deals with moving dice into your prep area. For those who know, that becomes a pretty big deal in the game. Next up, we've got Rocket Raccoon. Little bit of an odd choice, I think, in the starter set. Last time we saw Rocket was in the, I believe, in the Amazing Spider-Man set. Not a card you get tons of play on. Let's show off his die. As much as I love the idea of a Guardians of the Galaxy team, it's not something you see very often being played. So 3 cards. His die are 0/1/1, 0/3/1, and 1/4/1. So a pretty weak character at his basics, but also pretty cheap to field. We're looking at a cost of 2 is just his basic big flarking gun. And the art's from the Abnett and Lanning run of Guardians of the Galaxy. We've got Rocket Raccoon Furball, cost of 3. He's got fast. That means he's dealing damage first, so in which case you don't really need a high defense. Global is pay 1 lightning and deal 1 damage to target blocking character die. So either another easy way to take out some big guys with a cheap card and character. And then the cost of 4 also has fast, and while Rocket Raccoon is attacking, your opponent must block each Rocket Raccoon die if able. So a way to kind of get some blockers in there in a way to tie up your opponent's dice while your other attackers get in there, so a nice distraction. Cool aspect. I can see that being used a lot with maybe some fast attack decks. I have 2 Iron Man cards. Just want to make sure that is right. You usually get 3 cards, so this is a little odd to just get the 2. Let's count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Yep, 22 character cards. So that's right. So we got Iron Man. He's got 2. It's Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Pro Reg. Just want to make sure. Usually there's like 3 cards, so it was throwing me off a little bit. Very familiar die for Iron Man. Kind of a similar design that we've seen. Pretty often with his shield, or his mask. Alright, it's not focusing. Well, we're not wasting time on that. Alright, so we got one of a cost of 4 and one cost of 5. So Iron Man Pro Reg. The dice are 144, 255, 366. Pretty hefty die. For cost of 4, when fielded, target character die you control gets +2 defense until end of turn if you roll his lowest level. There we go. Next we get Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Enlistment. KO target character die blocked by Iron Man unless target opponents KO another character die they control. Character dice blocked by Iron Man gets a -2 attack. So a cost 5, not the cheapest of character, but a way to bump out your opponents pretty easily. Next up we've got Falcon. Show off his dice. Some cool dice, I think. See Falcon flying around. So there's 3 cards for him. We're looking at some pretty cheap ones, potentially. 131, 142, and 253 is his level 3. Basic level is a cost of 2. You get nothing for it. Really cheap die to get in there and attacking your opponents. Next, we've got a cost of 3. When fielded, target sidekick is unblockable this turn. Kind of playing off his ability for his Bird Red Wing, I believe. Nice little flavor added to it. We've got Dive Bomber. He's got Intimidate. When fielded, remove target opposing character die from the field zone until end of turn. Place it next to your character cards. Again, kind of cool in that has a little bit flavor of the character himself from the comics. And I love the fact that it's Falcon Cap that they've got in the picture, not just Falcon. Alright, we got another twofer. This one is Captain with actually a pretty cool die. It's like blue and red and white. Feels very appropriate to him. It's got Cap throwing his shield. It's actually a freaking awesome die, if you ask me. We've had a whole bunch of Captain Americas in previous sets. This one's 2 cards. They're each of a cost of 4. We have Anti-Reg. He's got Resistance. While active at the end of your turn, if a character die you control was KO'd this turn, you gain 1 life. And while active at the end of your turn, spin each of your Captain America dice up 1 level. So if he survives, he's only getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Noticing a bunch of cards that have the whole spin up a level aspect to them. Next, we got Freedom Fighter. While he's got Resistance, which is same as the other, and then while active at the end of your turn, spin each of your Captain America dice up 1 level. Okay. Oh, Resistance is different. This one's a little bit different. So this Resistance is KO this turn, gain 1 life. This Resistance is KO this turn, deal 1 damage to your target opponent. So while active at the end of turn, if a character die you control is KO this turn, deal 1 damage to target opponent. So that's the difference between the two. This one's Freedom Fighter. While active at the end of turn, spin each of your Captain America dice up 1 level. So cost of 4, you're eventually going to get a pretty tough Captain America. Now the final die is Black Widow. She's got 3 nice, beautiful, translucent die with the Black Widow logo on it. A little red and white to it. Her dice are 0, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, and 1, 3, 3. At a cost of 2, when fielded, deal 1 damage to target opposing character die. Check it out. There we go. Next up, we've got Graduate of the Red Room. When fielded, target opponent must spin down an opposing character die they choose. And finally, when fielded, KO target opposing character die with a fielding cost of 0. This one's a 3, so basically getting rid of a lot of sidekicks or some of the more pain-in-the-ass character dice out there that cost nothing. I can see that one being getting some use in the game. Overall, I think there's some good cards in the starter. There's nothing that immediately jumps out to me as like game-changing, but there's a lot I can see being used in other sets and a lot of the meta decks that are going on. Bard Rush, I can see using some of these, maybe replacing 1 or 2 of the current characters with some of these cheap ones potentially. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some interesting cards just off of the starter set. Nothing like completely breaking the game that immediately I'm jumping out going, oh my god, this is going to change the game. But there's some cool ones there. I can see it maybe changing up some decks a little bit. And we're going to open up the gravity feeds that we've got here to show some cards off. This is some cool ones. We've got Deathlock. I don't believe he has been in the game. His dice at a cost of 6, which is pretty hefty. He's got a shield logo. His dice is 155, 266, 388. So a hefty character right there. This is Death Machine. His uncommon with Deathlock character die would be KO'd. You may instead pay 2 life to spin that die up 1 level. Clear damage from that Deathlock die. So instead of getting rid of Deathlock, you're only looking at a character who's getting tougher. So yeah, I think the big question will be is what happens when you can't spin it up one level. I'm sure that will be asked by someone. The next we've got Moonstone. Again, I think this is a new one. Her die's okay. Doesn't really blow me away. Shows a silhouette of her. And it's going to be a little blurry, I'm sorry. Figure out a good way to get this shown off at some point. She, again, is cost of 5, so a little bit expensive. When fielded, deal 1 damage to target opponent. Her die is 132, 243, 254. This is a common card. I'm going to say probably not going to see a whole lot of play. She is Dark Avenger. She's got Thunderbolts and a Hydra logo. So, interesting. Next up, we've got, we'll start with the man with the plan, Ant-Man. His die is got an ant head on it. Kind of liking it. Orange in color. Can't really see it because of blurriness. Sorry about that. So he's got fast. This is the common version. Cost of 3 fast, so he deals combat damage before non-fast characters in combat. He's looking at 012, 022, 143, so not all that great unless you get him up to his top when it comes to character die, though. 0 cost 2/2 is not that bad for 3. There's probably just other characters I would use, and using him in like a tournament deck I'm not quite sure about. Next we've got Rescue. Rescue was when Pepper Potts put on her own Iron Man outfit. And like Iron Man, it's got Rescue's helmet on it. Her die is 123, 125, and 236. With the cost of 3, at the end of your roll and reroll step, gain 1 life for each rescue die you rolled that shows an energy face. Rescue doesn't need to be active for this ability. So basically, you're rolling. You want energy when it comes to rescue. So if you can get a combination where you have globals that are using the shield, for instance, which is her energy type, you're going to want to bring her on, rolling her as energy, and using that to pay off maybe some of your globals. You're not going to really want to use this one potentially as an attack, though her dice is actually pretty decent for that. I mean, a cost of 3, and you're looking at 236 as her top. She's also got 123, 125. That's really solid, I think, as far as a card. I can see that one being used by some folks. Alright, and this is the final one of the 3 packs Wizkids hooked us up with. We have Black Widow. We've seen her die, so I'm not going to show that off. But we are going to show the card because this is a different one. So this is from the set. Black Widow can block any number of character dice with a printed fielding cost of 0. So there's a way to go and take care of a whole bunch of sidekicks and other dice that are out there. Throw her out there and just bring the pain. And this one I'm sure will be popular with some people just because of the character. We've got Loki, green with envy, cost of 5, so a little bit expensive. While Loki is active at the start of your main step, you may pay 2 mask to capture all opposing sidekicks in the field zone until end of turn. His die is 124, 126, 228. With a cost of 5, though, I don't really see this one being played a whole lot. And that's it. So that's another common card. So we've gone through 3 packs. We've shown off the starter set. We've shown off the playmat. We've shown off the dice. Overall, it's an interesting set. So far, nothing has quite jumped out at me where I'm saying, oh my god, this is a game-changing card. However, there's a lot of cards in here I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It seems like it's going to be another set like World's Finest, where there's a couple cards in there that actually are going to be really, really helpful in the game. People are going to use them a lot and build some decks around them. But generally, it seems like it's going to be a fun draft deck, I think. There are some pricey cards that we've seen so far, which has me a little worried. That was probably the issue. That was the issue with Amazing Spider-Man, is the characters were just way too expensive to make drafting fun or realistic. Here, though, it looks like there's a nice mix so far of the 3 boosters we've had. There's 3 cost 3s, 2 cost 5, and a cost 6. So they're going to be all around, and I can see some of these being useful in games, especially when it comes to drafts. So, of course, when the set comes out, we're going to go get a collector's box. We're going to go get a gravity feed and go through everything and show this off for folks. Really looking forward to the sets out in May. I believe it's mid to late May. Don't remember the exact specific date, but we're going to have it when it comes out. You know, pre-order it now. I think it's going to be a hot, popular set. Thank you for watching, as always. This is Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. You can catch us every single day at graphicpolicy.com. Of course, we're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Thank you, Wizkids, for hooking us up with all the Civil War Dice Masters. Set, as I said, is out in May. We're going to have links below this video where hopefully you'll be able to pre-order the sets yourself. So until next time, as always, thank you for watching. It's much appreciated. Keep rolling those die and keep it geeky.